So today I want to talk about dungeon grind setups to help you guys level up in TBC Classic. Dungeon leveling is a great way to level in TBC for several reasons, which we'll cover in a little bit, and there are certain dungeon group setups that synergize really well and can clear dungeons super fast, which is what we're talking about today. Before I talk about the dungeon group setups though, I want to say that I will be giving away another 5 TBC Beta Keys in this video as well. And I'm starting to run out of beta keys to give away now, so if you're getting sick of these shoutouts in the beginning of the videos, we are almost at the finish line. I just want to try to get as many of you into the beta as possible. So since we are talking about classes in this video, what I want you to do to join the TBC Beta Keys giveaway is leave a comment down below about which class you will main in TBC, as well as a little note about why you picked that class. I should also mention that these keys are officially given out by Blizzard, and if you're lucky enough to win one, this key is for you only, and should not be sold or given away. You do not have to be subscribed to my channel to join the giveaway. All you have to do is leave a comment down below about which class you're going to play as a main in TBC. But if you do enjoy my content and want to see even more TBC Classic content, slapping me with a like and subscribe helps my channel out tremendously. The giveaway lasts for 24 hours and I will be picking the winners on stream roughly 24 hours after this video comes out. And before I talk about dungeon group setups, I want to mention a couple of reasons why you should consider dungeon grinding. Dungeon grinding gives you reputation up to honored, and by completing or by not completing any quests and saving those for later, you can go back and quest for more reputation at a later point. So you're basically min-maxing your reputation. Dungeon grinding is really easy, and you don't risk the chance of getting stuck on a quest. If you are playing on a PvP server, dungeon grinding is a great way to avoid the frustration of world PvP while leveling. If you can set up a group of friends to dungeon grind with, it's a very social form of leveling, and it's incredibly fun. If you are planning on doing heroic dungeons later, having done the normal dungeons is good so you know the dungeon layouts, as well as the basic boss mechanics. Now let's talk about some dungeon group setups. Number 1, the Unrealized Dream. That's right, I chose to give this dungeon group setup a name because it's a group you will never see. This is the Protection Paladin, Triple Mage and Priest Healer setup. Obviously a very good Spellcleave group, right? I don't think I need to talk in length about why this setup is good, but what I can say is there will never be one of these groups out there, because every mage that cares about leveling fast will simply spam slave pens, solo leveling. If anything, you might see a Spellcleave group like this from level 60 to 63, just to grind Hellfire and Reputation. Then the mages will split up into slave pens and solo level the rest of the way, while also getting Coilfang Reputation by themselves. Number 2, Protection Paladin, Holy Paladin, Hunter, Feral Druid and another Hunter. Feral Druid, improved leader of the pack, gives 5% melee and ranged crit chance. Beast Mastery with a Ravager pet can have 100% uptime on the Gore ability, which when lands a crit increases the party's damage by 3%, which basically has a 100% uptime with this setup. Beast Mastery Hunter gives his pet focus whenever he crits, so he benefits from improved lead of the pack from the Feral Druid as well. The Feral Druid gives 5% crit when the Hunter crits, he gives his pet focus, the pet spends that focus on Gore and can spam it indefinitely, and when Gore crits, the party damage is increased by 3%. Hunters are insanely good early in TBC because we are getting a 2.4.3 version of TBC where all of the classes have been reworked and Hunters are in their final state. So we are getting the Hunters of late TBC at the start of TBC, and Hunters were insanely strong at that point. Bringing 2 Hunters instead of 1 will basically just increase your damage, and also increase the uptime of the 3% damage buff from almost 100% to above 100% uptime, so it's a win-win. You could obviously bring another third-party DPS as well, but I think this is the most optimal setup for this type of Cleave group. I like bringing 2 Paladins for Blessing of Might and Blessing of Kings, which benefits all of the physical DPS in this type of Cleave, as well as the fact that Holy Paladins can manage their mana really well, even in super big pulls, and Protection Paladins are really good at doing massive pulls to speed through the dungeons. Number 3, Protection Paladin, Resto Shaman, double Warlock and a Boomkin. Warlocks are big pumpers in the Burning Crusade, and their damage output is absolutely insane. You will not have access to Seed of Corruption while leveling, but once you're level 70, that Seed of Corruption will make your damage output go through the roof, but even when leveling, having a double Warlock setup is actually quite useful. You could alternatively switch out one of the Warlocks for an Elemental Shaman, and in that case you could also swap out the Resto Shaman for literally any healer, and the basics of this setup is set around the Protection Paladin being able to AoE pull a ton of mobs, and the Resto Shaman placing down totems, mainly the Wrath of Air totem, and the caster DPSers pumping out damage. In the case of double Warlock and a Boomkin, you literally have Dot City, with all of the damage over time ticks going around, plus some direct damage coming through as well once they start casting. The Boomkin aura from the Boomkin also increases spell critical chance by 5% as well, which is absolutely perfect in this setup. Number 4, 4 warriors and a Resto Shaman. That's right, you heard it, a group that consists of 4 warriors that actually works out really well. One of these warriors will be the tank obviously, and the others will be big pumpers on DPS, and the Resto Shaman's job is to buff you with that Windfury Totem for maximum damage output, while also healing you of course, and because of the massive amount of warriors we have from Classic WoW, if you insist on keeping your warrior for TBC, this might be one of those dungeon group setups you are looking for. Number 5, Feral Druid Tank, Triple Hunter, Resto Shaman. This pretty much builds upon my second dungeon group setup, and builds upon it in a way. Instead of having a Paladin tank, you let the Feral Druid tank. This way you still have the leader of the pack buff for critical strike increase, and you free up a DPS spot for a third hunter that can pump some big boy damage, and will 100% do more damage than a Feral Druid DPS. Additionally, having a Resto Shaman gives you access to Grace of Air and Strength of Earth totems, increasing the agility and strength of your groups by a ton. You could also switch out that Resto Shaman for a Holy Paladin, if you would rather have a Blessing of Kings or Blessings of Might instead of the totems. That's totally up to you. This is a great dungeon group, but with a Feral Druid tank, you will most likely have to pull 1 or 2 packs at a time, instead of doing massive AoE pulls, but with 300 DPSs you will literally burn through those packs super quick, and you can chain pull back to back for maximum speed and you will just run through the dungeons super fast. An additional benefit of this group is that all of the hunters can feign death if they pull aggro. All of this being said, I want to end this video by saying that the best group for farming dungeons is a group where you're having a good time, whether that be with in real life friends or in-game friends, or a pug group where you all have the same intentions. Classes really doesn't matter too much, and having played on the beta myself and done numerous dungeons on multiple characters, there is not one class or even one spec I would exclude from dungeons. Everyone brings something to the table, and this video was really just to highlight some of the groups that synergize well. Shadow Priest could also fit into any Spellcleave comp because of their mana battery functions. Retribution Paladins deal insane DPS and can fit into any melee group. Enhancement Shamans are also really strong, and if you don't have a Resto Shaman, you will want to bring a DPS Shaman for totems, and Elemental Shamans are really strong as well and can pump out a lot of damage in both a single target and AoE scenarios. And that is pretty much it for this video, guys. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you want more TBC content, and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.